Any elite performer or elite producer understands this is their career, not a job. Theme days works in all aspects of our lives, not just in mortgage. I don't need to get more leads if I can just get better leads. We tend to speak to our audience as if they work with us. Stop selling to your competition. Learn how to relentlessly pursue all leads until they buy or die, or get a restraining order.
Hi everyone, Serena here, and welcome back to the Digest by AD Mortgage, your trusted source for insights into the mortgage industry. Today, we're talking about performance, mindset, and the habits that separate the good from the great. Joining us is Dustin Owen, the host of the Loan Officer podcast and the leader who's coached thousands of mortgage professionals, from the brand new originators to top producers closing millions each month. We'll talk about what defines success in 2025 and how elite brokers build structure, how they generate leads beyond realtors, how they master scripts, and how they stay mentally sharp in a competitive market. You've been asking for more conversations about growth and consistency, and this one delivers. Let's dive in. Hi, Dustin. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Serena. How you doing today?
Doing well. So great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here at A&D Mortgage.
Awesome. Our viewers are going to learn so much from you. So for our first question, you have worked with so many loan officers, right? From beginner stages all the way to elite.
Correct.
What really sets them apart that you've noticed in 2025?
I think what sets any top producer apart, whether it's 2025 or 2005, it's going to be how they approach their business. So any elite performer or elite producer understands this is their career, not a job. And they understand that if this is their career, they have to get up every day, put on their uniform, and go to work. And when they're at work, they work. An elite producer, let's just call it a top producer, they understand that even if they work for a top lender, a national lender, they work for themselves. So they're very entrepreneurial and they're resourceful. And by resourceful, they understand that ultimately, through extreme ownership, they're the reason why they are successful. They're also the reason why they're not successful. So I think it's more of a mindset thing than it is an action thing.
Okay. And so what do you envision that a day for a top producer would look like? Like maybe from start to finish or even start to lunchtime?
Oh my gosh, from the perfect day. And I love how you threw in there lunchtime, because I do believe in the whole win by noon philosophy. So the perfect day, they're out of bed between 5:30 and 6. And then they're doing something for themselves between 5:30 and 7. Preferably that would be, for me, exercise, right? Because I know that when I exercise, it's not just good for my body, but it's good for my brain. It's not just good for my body, but it's good for my soul. Other people want to journal. Other people may want to meditate, or just maybe their opportunity to sit with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and get lost in their thoughts. My perfect day for an originator, it starts at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m., they're in the office. Now, they're going to work till 4 or 5 before they go home. But at 8 a.m., they're in the office. Even if the office is their basement, an attic, or a spare bedroom, they are there, and they're there to work. We win by noon, so we make all of our sales activities our priority, right? We're talking about loan officers and mortgage brokers, like we're in sales. So sales activity comes first. I would like to spend from 8 to 8:30 just getting caught up on emails and voicemails. From 8:30 to 9, I'm planning out my day, although I should have planned my day out the night before. But then from 9 to noon, it's all proactive outreach. And I follow theme days. I was taught it. I coach it at TLOPS Originator Coaching. So Monday, we're reaching out to realtors that know us and we know them. Tuesday, we're doing proactive status updates on our entire pipeline. So that's buyer, that's real estate agents, that's title company. Wednesdays is when I'm reaching out to my past clients. If I don't have past clients, I'm reaching out to my circle of influence. Ideally, I'm looking to do annual mortgage reviews. Thursday is when I'm reaching out to the men and women I don't know yet, typically realtors on my target list or builders on my target list. And I save Fridays for the day to reach out to everyone else, whether it's a personal banker that refers me, a divorce attorney that refers me, a financial advisor that refers me. So I have my day themed out, because I've learned theme days works in all aspects of our lives, not just in mortgage. So like, I'm a triathlete. So I do one Ironman competition a year. When I'm training for my triathlons, I don't just wake up and be like, you know what, Serena, I feel like I'm gonna swim today. No, I know that I swim Mondays and I swim on Fridays. I know I do a track workout on Wednesday, I do a long run on Sunday, and I bike Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. My garbage collector doesn't just show up at my neighborhood and say, I feel like getting their garbage today. No, we know that they get garbage on Tuesdays and Fridays, recycling on Wednesdays. So everyone's following a theme day. We in the business world can have our own theme days that remind us what to do, because if I take out the guesswork, that's one less decision I have to make. And now I just have to show up and do what is prescribed. And I do what is prescribed based on that theme.
Oh, that routine is such a huge part of my life. Even if I had the chance, I think, to not come to work, it's such a big part of my routine to come. I feel lost if...
Yes, I have traveled more this year than I did probably the previous 5 years combined. And the one thing I dislike about being on the road so much is my routine is broken, and now I'm being forced to either travel less, which I may very well do, or I'm being forced to figure out a new routine. Because if I'm not in my routine mentally, I'm not right. Like spiritually, I'm not right. Let alone like the physical toll of sleeping in hotel rooms and being in airports, like what that has on it. Time changes, yes.
Different elevations,
Yeah.
Yes. Regarding realtors and lead generation, kind of want to swerve the topic a little bit. Do you think it's becoming tougher with getting leads from realtors? And if it is getting tougher, do you have another solution for lead generation?
Okay, so this is a loaded question, okay? It's a very loaded question, and I'm going to start with, in my assessment, right? So the old general Colin Powell, actually it's Colin Powell, used to say, in my humble experience. He wouldn't say in my humble opinion. He would literally say, in my humble experience, and then he'd give his answer. So I'm going to say, in my humble experience, realtors are still a loan originator's number one, number two, and number three referral source. Like, I want to start there, lay the groundwork. However, yes, the realtor's voice does not bring as much power to the consumer as it once did. And I'll look at your generation, and your generation is going to listen to your parents' recommendation. They're going to listen to the realtor's recommendation, but they're still going to spot check or fact check, which means you have to show up online. So yes, I think realtors are a great referral source. I think it is harder today only because the consumer's behavior has changed, and the consumer is still going to ask the realtor, hey, do you have a good lender recommendation? 20 years ago, they would get the recommendation, they'd put their blinders on, and they would just march in the direction of that lender. Today, they're going to get the recommendation. They're going to, before they make the phone call, Google us. And then what do they see? Right? What are we showing them on our Facebooks? What are we showing them on YouTube? What are we showing them on Instagram? What does our website look like? Do we even have a website? And if we don't, then 100%, it's way harder to get referrals from realtors. And there's other changes going on in the industry. There's so many lenders out there right now, and I personally don't know if I agree with this, but they are convincing realtors to come to work for them as business development or as a licensed originator, and they're paying them 25 or 50 basis points to basically refer leads in, but they're not asking the realtors to do any work. The realtors more than likely don't know how to structure a loan or run AUS. I think if that starts to go without being regulated or policed, it could then make procuring referrals from real estate agents a little bit harder. But your second part of the question, I believe, was, then what else would you do? Circle of influence, past clients, and obviously financial advisors, right? Like obviously financial advisors, but I believe that a loan originator is most of America's one and only financial advisor. Although we're not, most financial advisors won't talk to a borrower or a consumer unless they have $100,000 in investable assets. So that's not their home equity. That's not their life insurance. That's not their 401k. That's not their IRA. It's investable assets. Well, anyone who does loans for a living, very rarely do we see a 1003 or an IRLA with $100,000 of investable assets. So financial advisors make phenomenal referral sources. However, most of the consumers that we're touching don't have a financial advisor. But our circle of influence, yes. However, and I'll speak from personal experience, I should have done so much of a better job of treating my circle of influence as if they were already clients and loving on them and being their source of information. that if I did that, I bet there were at least 2 or 3 transactions a quarter that I left on the table because I didn't do so. So my answer is, if not realtors, then who? Okay, well then look at financial advisors, but what are you doing right now to treat your circle of influence as if they're already a client of yours?
And so now we have our leads, right? What is your best recommendation for kind of converting these leads when you're getting pushback? When our loan officers who are watching us here, they're getting, I'm just not ready yet, or I don't have enough equity, I don't really want to proceed, I'm fine with my interest rate. They're getting all of this pushback from borrowers. I guess this is more of a sales tip, but how do you close?
Ooh, loaded question. And there's so many different ways. I think, sales is so much a game that we all play. And just like the best sports coaches go into the game with a game plan, right? There's a reason why we have halftime and we make halftime adjustments. Right? I just watched a World Series game that went 18 innings. For those that don't know, that's 2 baseball games played on the same night. That counted only as 1 winner and 1 loser. So how do you game plan for that? You don't. You went in there for the game plan to get through the first 5 innings. You thought the game would go 9, but ended up going 18. So when I'm out selling, I remember things like some will, some won't, who cares, move on. Right? It's not personal. I can't be all things to all people. If someone's not ready for me, I don't need to jam a square peg through a round hole. I need to go find someone else that is ready for me. Right? So sometimes it's just the mindset that we get that one person who shows interest and we smother it. There's an awesome scene from this classic movie called Tommy Boy. And Tommy Boy is in a restaurant and he's telling the waitress why he's terrible at sales. And he uses like a dinner roll to show how he basically blows the sale up because he tries too hard. The first thing we need to remember is it is a numbers game. So sometimes we're just not getting enough leads. Or the referral sources we're getting the leads from are not quality referral sources. Right? I don't need to get more leads if I can just get better leads. Right? I don't need to get more leads if I can convert leads at a better percentage. So I think your question was more about how do I convert at a better percentage? Well, I would ask, what does your performance look like? As salespeople, we're performers. So I get a first opportunity to make a great impression, right? One opportunity. What does that sound like when you're calling in, right? Am I listening? Am I asking good questions? Or am I just vomiting my value proposition all over you? Am I talking about the next steps are, right? Do I have a way to validate with social proof how good I am? Meaning through reviews, through my social, through testimonials. And then what does my process look like? So the word attempt has 7 letters, okay? ATTEMPT, right? 7 letters. Because it takes 7 attempts to make a sale. So if you're a sales professional, mortgage originator, loan officer, mortgage broker, and you're not texting, calling, and emailing up to 7 times, then you're not fulfilling your job, right? Your job is to make 7 attempts before you say, hey, this was not going to work out. But at the same time, you have to remember, some will, some won't, who cares, move on. Stop trying to jam a square peg through a round hole. Go talk to another person, and you'll find the right people who are ready today. And then those that aren't ready today, doesn't mean we forget about them. We still have to have a system that helps us not forget, and that's where you utilize your CRM. And a good CRM with automation and APIs will be able to text and email on your behalf based on what you instructed the CRM to do, right? If this is someone who doesn't qualify today, I have a whole campaign for does not qualify. If this is someone who's not looking to buy for 9 months, then I have a whole entire campaign for people who aren't ready to buy for 9 months. If this is someone who needed a rate at 5.75 and rates are at 6.25, I need to have a system to stay in front of those people that are at that are looking for 5.75. And that system needs to tell me and alert me, hey, their target rate has hit. Pick up the phone, call them, text them, email them. Or if you're great and great LOs do this, you go ahead and lock them in because you've already had this consultative approach called the strike rate, where you've had a conversation. I said, hey, Serena, right now for a refinance to make sense, we need rates at 5.75. They're not there yet, but they could be there anytime between now and next year. Let me go ahead and get your file set up and get your permission that the minute rates hit 5.75, I'm going to lock you in. We're going to close you 30 days later. So I think utilizing technology and building those systems is how you can increase your conversion ratio, but that's going to take some time and some effort up front. And then obviously the originator has to then make that part of their daily routine.
Okay.
Super long answer.
Yes, not long. Loaded question.
Loaded
right?
question with loaded
We
with
both
loaded
have fault in that one.
Yeah.
I think that you're a big believer in simplifying things for borrowers. It seems like that's something that you preach. And when you talk about simplifying things for borrowers, do you mean in verbiage, in conversation? How do you simplify it? Or how did you, I should say?
No, I still do. So that's the magic of what I've been able to do through the Loan Officer podcast, is taking scary, complex topics and breaking them down into a manner that people understand them, and they're usually entertained by learning. So I coach this to loan officers day in, day out, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. We tend to speak to our audience as if they work with us. So like I have a slide in a presentation I give, and it's like, stop selling to your competition. And it's not that I want people to like not have their competition swipe and adapt or imitate their marketing efforts. No, of course I want that to happen. That means the marketing was good. But when I say stop speaking to your audience as if they're your competition, it's because we're using jargon like LTV and DTI and AUS and LOX. And we're saying 203K loan, and we're saying reverse mortgage. No one knows what that means unless you're in the industry. But if you're in the industry, you probably don't need a really good mortgage broker because you yourself are already one, or you have plenty of friends and clients that are. So I say speak to them like they're in fourth grade. Meaning, could a fourth grader understand this? If a fourth grader can't understand this, then you need to change your approach. Paint by numbers. So paint by numbers to me is a reminder that I'm not an artist. But if you tell me do step 1 first, do step 2 second, step 3 third, I can put a piece of art together that doesn't look terrible. So when someone is speaking to a real estate agent or speaking to a client or speaking to a prospective borrower, I think they need to ask themselves, am I breaking this down in short, concise sentences that a fourth grader would understand? And if the answer is yes, then you're doing a great job. The last part I would say is use analogies as much as possible, right? If I find out that you're from South Florida, what do I know about South Florida, and how can I tie South Florida into what I'm trying to explain? If I find out that you're a young mother, how can I tie in motherhood or my understanding of motherhood into what I'm trying to teach? If I find out that you love dance or you love football, how do I tie in what you already know to what I'm trying to teach you so that it's more memorable and it sticks?
So, Dustin, speaking of realtors, how would you suggest, and this whole episode podcast digest is going to be just your suggestions because we're just trying to get a piece of knowledge from you.
Okay.
But how do you think realtor broker relationships last? Like, what can we do other than offering them a lunch? Everyone likes free lunch, but is there any other ways that have really stuck for you over the years?
Well, I think it starts with understanding it's a relationship. And we use the word partnership a lot, like, oh, my realtor partner. And I call out a lot of originators. I'm like, are they really a partner? Because with a partner, I meet with them. With a partner, I care about them. With a partner, I'm bringing value. A partner, I don't let down. So if I'm looking at any realtor relationship, let's just take a realtor off the table and say it's a relationship. Well, how do I do that? Well, first I understand I'm not for all people and all people aren't for me. So I need to stop trying to force things to happen that nature didn't intend to happen. I need to go have more meetings to find more of the right people. And then when I have those meetings, the conversation needs to be open and honest. I need to be able to set proper expectations and deliver upon them, but I also have to be likable, and I have to like the other person. So I've once fired a coaching client. In fact, I didn't fire him. I didn't take him on. He wasn't likable. I can't help someone who's not likable. I just can't. And if I don't like you, it's going to be hard for me to want to pour myself into you. The same thing applies with realtors. Now, once you've overcome that, then it comes down to you have to communicate effectively, openly, proactively. You just have to talk to any real estate agent. That's all they want. And somehow our industry just keeps dropping the ball. You have to make yourself accessible, right? Accessible is if you reached out to me Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to probably 6 p.m., I have 1 hour to respond to you. Now, nights and weekends, I'm available, but I'm not working. I'm available, at which point I need the right partners to understand that, hey, he's available, but he might not get back to me within an hour. It may take him 2 or 3 hours. The second part is understanding that if you're a partner, you participate in their success. So what are you doing today, this week, this quarter, this year to help these realtors generate more leads, convert the leads they do have at a higher percentage so they can sell more homes and make more money? Like, that is my job. And I only know that by sitting down with realtors and having a trusting partner type conversation where I ask them, how has your year gone? What are you excited about next year? And what are 2 ways that I can participate in making sure that you achieve your goals? Like, those things right there. The last thing I would add is learn how to relentlessly pursue all leads until they buy or die, or get a restraining order. And if you as a lender can do that for your realtors, you're helping them close more transactions, sell more homes, and make more money. And every time that you're following up with that lead that they referred you 9 months ago, it now gives you a reason to call the realtor. Hey, I just want to let you know, Serena, I left Oleg and his wife, Karina, a voicemail for the 7th time. They're still ghosting me, but I'm going to continue to reach out to them until either they buy or they ask me to quit reaching out to them. Have you heard from them? And you'd be like, no, I haven't heard from them. Hey, no worries. Hey, Serena, before I let you run, who's next? I love working with you. Who have you met recently that needs my services? I'd love to get them on my calendar, right? And that to me is what a good partnership sounds like. And these are what loan originators need to do to be a good partner to the real estate community.
So you mentioned a little bit, Dustin, about being maybe available for some time on weekends, maybe just to reply or at least to your good relationships, right? How do you avoid burnout in this industry and in your position?
Okay, how do you avoid burnout? Another loaded question. I love the question because I don't know if you avoid it. I think you learn to deal with it. I know that you have to learn to not tolerate it. It's kind of like someone's like, I'm looking for a work-life balance. I'm like, cool, when you find it, let me know, right? Because I'm looking for work-life balance too. But what I've learned is I'm constantly balancing. So there's parts of my life, seasons of my life, when I'm totally all into work. And for some of us, that's 3, 5, or 7 years. But those 3, 5, or 7 years was a sacrifice. So the next 27 years can be in balance because we laid the foundation, we built it. Now it's a matter of running it and maintaining it. So the burnout is real. It does happen. The only thing someone can do is not tolerate it. So when they start to experience it and see it, you take a deep breath, you take a step back, and you get away. You put your phone down. That one lead, that one relationship, those 2 transactions are not going to make or break your career. Yeah, they may make or break your month. Yeah, they may, set you back a quarter if you take too long of a break. But it's not going to make or break your career, so we have to get away. And sometimes just that long weekend where you put your phone down, you get someone to cover your desk for you, that's all that we need. But I think trying to avoid it isn't realistic. Just like being perfectly in balance, don't get me wrong, it's a goal. I have a guy that coaches for me, Coach Brian Kimball out of Tennessee. He found it. Now, his journey on how he found it and how long it took him to find it, it's an amazing story within itself. And Brian, we still put on the pedestal because he found it. The rest of us are either seeking it or we're fine playing the balancing game. So you're not gonna not get burned out. In fact, I would coach you, I'd want you to get burned out. So you know what it feels like. So you know what to look for next time. Then you can start putting in stopgaps or putting in systems that allow you to avoid it from happening or allow you to start recognizing that when it is happening, this is your cue to take a step back, take a deep breath, and go decompress some way.
Great. So embrace the burnout.
In a way, yes. Look, no pain, no gain. We've been taught that our whole lives. Now, most of us, you were a gymnast, I was a baseball player, and we heard it from our coaches. No pain, no gain. What did that mean? That meant like, I know you're exhausted. I know your legs hurt. However, if you push through, you will get stronger, you will get better. But even in business, no pain, no gain. If I'm not feeling the pain of a 10 and 12 hour day, the pain of being disorganized, the pain of not having proper systems or a support team, then I don't fully understand what needs to happen next, so I never feel that pain again. So I have to push myself into the uncomfortable, push myself into the pain so that I can recognize I never want to feel that again, so let me make a change.
And what's one change, just to finish up our digest episode, what's one thing that you would suggest to our loan officers that they can do tomorrow that would move the needle the most and change them?
The one thing, they're going to hate this because they're looking for...
probably a bunch, but...
There are a bunch. Knowing me, like getting to know me right now, yes, there's a bunch. The one change, and it's super easy to do, everyone can do it, and it costs you no money to do. And they're going to hate me for the answer because it's not like an Ozempic shot or a magic pill. Like, no. I want everyone going to bed 30 minutes earlier. I want them waking up 30 minutes earlier. And I want them getting to the office 30 minutes earlier. Like, that's what I want them to do. Now, if they were to do that, and you multiply 30 minutes times 5 days a week times 48 weeks out of the year, because we have holidays and people take vacation. If you did that math, I'm giving them back over 2 weeks of productivity. Like, that's adding 2 extra work weeks to someone's year, all because they turned off the TV, put down the phone, brushed their teeth a little bit earlier, got in bed a little bit earlier, so they can get up earlier and get to the office earlier. So that would be the one thing, because anyone can do it and it costs no money.
Amazing. Thank you, Dustin, for being here today.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you, A&D Mortgage. I thoroughly appreciated my time here.
Greatness in this business doesn't come from luck. It comes from structure, mindset, and mastery of your craft. With tools like the AIM Partner Portal, brokers have more ways than ever to organize their workflow, grow their pipelines, and serve clients with precision. Now it's your turn. What do you think separates top producers from the rest in 2025? Drop your answer in the comments and share one habit that's helping you stay consistent this year. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more expert conversations. And until next time, take care, stay informed, and let's continue growing together.